In 2021, our beloved Houston Texans mascot Toro won NFL Mascot of the Year. After our conversation today on The Balanced Voice, we are sure that our guests Andrew Johnson and Ryan Records played an enormous role in achieving that incredible award.
When I first got here with the Texans, I wrote a mission statement for our program, and that's to be a character with character, making memories worth repeating. And so that just breaks down. We want Toro to be a character. Obviously, he's a mascot. We want him to be fun, energetic, but we want to do it with character. We want to do it with integrity. And then finally, making memories worth repeating. And that's what it's all about. We want people to come into NRG Stadium whenever we have those one-on-one interactions with our fans and the community out in Houston. We want to leave them with a memorable impression.
As a 41-year-old community-based organization, we are always grateful to have encouraging conversations with like-minded individuals like Andrew and Ryan. Join us in our conversation about community engagement and the life of Toro the Bull. Without further ado, here's your host, Renya Mancarios.
Welcome to the Balanced Voice podcast. We're laughing a little bit because we've had a fun start to this podcast already. We are so thrilled. We always have the most interesting guests on the podcast, and today is no different. We have Andrew Johnson, Texans Senior Mascot Program Manager, and Ryan Records, Mascot Program Manager for the Texans. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, good morning.
It's an honor to be with you, Rania.
We're so happy to have you. I was joking because Ryan Records. First, I did want to say Ryan Reynolds, and then I'm like, but Ryan Records seems like such like an actor name.
Yeah, I get Reynolds a lot, but I really think Records is cooler.
It's way cooler. All right. Well, we're so happy to have you. You two work hand in hand, arm in arm with the beloved Toro, bringing everything about Toro to life. Let's start there. Talk to us about the character of Toro.
Yeah, so Toro is the official mascot of your Houston Texans, of course, and he's actually been around longer than the team's been playing football. So he actually debuted in 2001. Team didn't start playing until 2002, but I mean, he brings a lot of energy and excitement to the games, to events all over the city of Houston, and even really the state of Texas. He's been everywhere. He's been to London. So Toro just brings smiles everywhere he goes, and he's such a wonderful mascot and just community figure.
And here in Houston, if you've been to a Texans game, Toro is known as a daredevil. He does a lot of really cool stunts inside NRG Stadium. He's doing zip lines, rappels, big swing stunts across the stadium. And so whenever you come to a Texans game, you never know what Toro is going to be up to.
I can't even imagine Toro practicing these stunts, by the way. That must be a very interesting thing. Or is Toro getting on a plane to fly to London? I can't imagine how any of that stuff works. So Toro came to life before the Texans, but of course is really, everybody loves the team and feels connected to the team. But the mascot, Toro specifically, captures sort of the heartbeat of the younger audience up through, the adults that love the games. What is the goal? How does that work? Is there like a map and a plan and an agenda and a seasonal mission for Toro?
When I first got here with the Texans, I wrote a mission statement for our program, and that's to be a character with character, making memories worth repeating. And so that just breaks down. We want Toro to be a character. Obviously, he's a mascot. We want him to be fun, energetic, and really ignite the home field advantage at NRG Stadium. But we want to do it with character. We want to do it with integrity whenever we're going out there and doing these events. And then finally, making memories worth repeating. And that's what it's all about. We want people to come into NRG Stadium whenever we have those one-on-one interactions with our fans and the community out in Houston. We want to leave them with a memorable impression, a positive memory that they can hold on to forever. And so that's really the goal. That's what we strive to do each and every day.
And I love that. A character with character, making memories worth repeating. And that has so much meaning. And we can talk about it in like 10 different ways. One of the reasons why we were so excited to have you guys on the podcast is because Toro takes the bull out of bullying. And obviously Crime Stoppers runs the largest Crime Stoppers Safe School Institute in the country. And we have such unique programming in the schools where we're boots on the ground, trying to talk to kids kindergarten through 12th grade about all aspects of bullying and cyberbullying. And it seems like your program incorporating Toro, such a beloved figure, is aiming to do the same. Talk to us about that for those of us who don't know what you do.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Toro's the mascot really just, shows up to the games every year and that's really it, right? 10 games and then Toro's sitting on the couch and just kind of hanging out. But that is Absolutely not the truth. I mean, we are always out with him at appearances, doing our school programs. So it's definitely a lot more than just 10 games a year. But the cool thing with our school programs is just it's an opportunity for these kids to hear this message from someone that they respect, right? Someone they see on TV or they see on social media. I mean, a lot of the information we talk in our bullying show, it's not like it's the most groundbreaking information in the world. They've heard it before. They hear it from their counselors. They hear it from their teachers. They hear it from the parents. But when they hear it from Toro, it just sinks in a little bit more. It's like hearing it from, this absolute celebrity. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from the message is just another chance for these kids to hear this important information from someone that they really love.
The program's been around for about 10 years and has impacted thousands of students across the city of Houston. It's called Toro Takes the Bull Out of Bullying, and that's exactly what we do within our program. We've got an acronym, and it's the BULL. We're taking the bull out of bullying. The B stands for Be Yourself, just encouraging kids to really embrace who they are. You use your voice. Make sure you speak up. If you see bullying happening or it's happening to you, make sure you tell somebody, tell your teacher, tell a parent, tell a trusted adult. L is leave. Get out of those situations if you are being bullied. And the last L stands for look out for others. If you see somebody else getting bullied, step in, help them out. And who knows, you might even make a new friend out of the deal. So that's kind of the breakdown of how our program works. All of our school programs are absolutely free for any Houston school that wants them. You just nominate your school, and then we pick all the schools that we go to throughout the year from those nominations on our website.
And so you guys actually go into the schools physically or virtually. Is that right?
In the past we would go in person, but this last year everything switched virtual with the pandemic. And it really all started right as the world was starting to lock down. We were sitting at home. Everyone was really. The kids are learning from home. And Toro actually got a message on social media just like, hey, is there any way you could, pop into my class real quick? And it kind of sparked an idea. So we ended up doing these virtual visits. We would pop into a class and hang out for about 15 minutes, play some games, and just really like have a good time, kind of get away from the fact that everybody's sitting at home learning virtually during this like completely crazy, unprecedented time. From there, when we ended up doing over 200 visits to schools. Mascots around the country started kind of following suit. And with that, when Toro started doing these visits, he ended up helping him win Mascot of the Year last year. So Toro was the 2021 NFL Mascot of the Year. And then we kind of took that virtual message and created our virtual Toro Takes the Bull Out of Bullying program.
I think everybody, whenever the pandemic hit, just didn't really know what to do. And we were certainly the same way. You got this big mascot who is the complete opposite of social distancing. Toro's known for giving hugs and high fives and interacting with Texans fans. And so just kind of sitting there like, what are we going to do? And I'm really, really proud of the way that our team responded to the pandemic and all the lives we were able to leave with a positive impact through this challenging situation.
It's been one of the silver linings of the pandemic, I think, to see, celebrity figures, influencers, iconic figures become really, really human in the pandemic and reach out and get in the dirt with other people and say, how can I help you? I'm here. I'm going to show up. Obviously, the virtualness of it was strange, but it also made it easier to make those connections, for Toro to pop into 200 classrooms. I mean, that's amazing. And I know it's a full-time job. And I was reading the number of events that Toro does through the year it was a shocking number. What was that number?
Oh gosh, I mean, it varies per year. And obviously it's been a little bit lower in the past few years just with the pandemic. There's not as much going on in public. But 2019, I think we did over 350 events. We've done 400 events in a year. We stay pretty busy with Toro, that's for sure.
So that's like multiple events a day or, very few weekends off. But I want to get back to your programming. So have you guys, we're in the schools, we're talking to kids all the time. I was just listening to our region, Crime Stoppers in Region 4 School Safety Summit on all the different issues kids are facing. Have you guys been surprised at where kids are today and where the conversation's going with bullying? And I find myself, even though it's the space I'm in all the time, continually surprised by where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bullying is something that affects everyone. When I was in elementary school, I was bullied. We've had players who talk about the fact that they've been bullied. We've had cheerleaders who talk about that fact. So, it's something, it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. Bullying happens to everyone. So we just try to do everything we possibly can to, bring some positivity to these schools and help to remind them that this isn't something they have to put up with. But you have to speak up, right? There's things you have to do to help put an end to that. So we just hope that our message can, help bring the end to bullying maybe one day.
Well, I think it is pretty surprising when these kids get to see one of the Texans players. They're these really tall, really big, muscular guys. And to hear their story and hear them say that when they were a kid growing up, they dealt with these same things that these kids are dealing with in their elementary schools. And so I think it's really impactful when they see that.
I wasn't making the connection that the Texans players or cheerleaders, these huge sort of muscular men or these perfect women were joining in the conversation and sharing their real life stories. I think that's incredibly impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a team effort, right? Like we always say, like we have to look out for each other. So this is everybody from the top down at Houston Texans trying to help put an end to bullying one day.
I'm reading a lot about Turo and sort of the mascot, the whole genre of mascots. It was been very interesting. And I know, Andrew, you've studied this a lot. And I think it's you and I were talking, that this was sort of something you enjoyed watching and learning about too. Where did it all start? So the mascot was created originally to be a fun symbol of the game. Was it meant to, engage directly with the community and rile the community up, or has the mission of the mascot in general changed over time?
I definitely think that mascots overall, just the involvement with a mascot character has grown tremendously. A lot of people, they see Toro on television 10 days out of the year and they think, man, that must be a great job. It is the best job in the world, but that must be a great job. You only have to work 10 days out of the year. But Ryan and I and Toro, we work 365 days a year. And as we've already alluded to, 350 events a year. The schedule keeps really, really busy. That means multiple appearances each day. And so not only is it game day and trying to make sure that we're creating memorable experiences for fans at NRG Stadium, but we're doing things for our community partners. We're doing things for our corporate partners. We're just all over the place creating social media content, trying to help market the team and really create that next generation of fans. And so I think teams have kind of leaned into that. They see the fact that Toro is a consistent face. Sometimes the players, they get traded or, they move on to a different team. Cheerleaders, they're normally with us for 5-6 years. Toro is a consistent face that you can lean into. And it's also a way to connect with that younger generation. But whenever you go to NRG Stadium, we've got fans that are all ages. So he can really connect with anybody. So I think the mascot's just used in so many different facets. And the role that Toro and mascots across sports has grown tremendously.
So how do you keep Toro in shape and well rested? And it sounds like he's pretty busy. So what is the game day like for Toro? Like Toro has a specific breakfast, everybody pampers Toro. Hair and makeup. What's the game day like?
Yeah, every day is different, that's for sure. Our schedule, we don't have any day that's the same, but game days, they can be a little crazy. So most people think, game starts at noon, right? You can just roll in at, 11 o'clock, but that's not true. Andrew and I, we show up at 5 a.m. most game days. So for a noon kick, we're there about 7 hours before kickoff. We have our storage cage where we keep all of Toro's props, all of Toro's signs, flags, everything. It's a little bit of a walk to our locker room. So we have to load everything to our locker room, make sure we're set, make sure we have our list ready. So we've got everything we need for the game. About 6 o'clock, 6:30, our crew rows in. So we have about 4 or 5 guys who work with us every game day and help us make everything happen on game day. So we go through a little production meeting with everybody, make sure we're all on the same page, make sure everybody knows the timeline. And then about 7:30, we start our pregame rehearsals. So we'll run through whatever Toro's skit may be that day. If we have a stunt, maybe we're rehearsing the stunt one last time to get the timing on it. If we're helping out with a cheerleader performance or a Deep Steel Thunder performance, we might walk through that. That takes normally about an hour or two. And then let's say we have maybe a celebrity or a local Houstonian who's coming out to lead our home field advantage, being our home field advantage captain. They might come through for a little social opportunity. So we'll take a photo, do a video with them. And then at about 10:30, 11, we're heading out to the tailgating lots. So we'll run through the parking lot, make sure we can see as many Texans fans as possible. And then about 11:30, we're in position for pregame performances. So Toro comes out of the tunnel, leads the team onto the field, and then noon we kick off, and there's 4 quarters of football to play from there. So Toro's on the sideline, he's doing his skits, doing a stunt, whatever it may be, helping out with our halftime performance, and then Toro's there till the end of the game. Every single game, doesn't matter. So it's a crazy day.
We call Toro our conductor of the crowd, which basically means he's the one that we look to that leads the home field advantage. So throughout the game on defense, he's helping rile up the fans, make as much noise as possible. And our new head coach, Levy Smith, was just talking about the fourth phase. You've got offense, defense, special teams, and the home field advantage. And so Toro's helping lead the home field advantage, create that atmosphere so the Texans can pull out a big win at the end of the day.
Is there like a favorite Toro memory that you guys have?
That's a good question.
I mean, there's a lot. I think when people would assume we'd say something on game day, and I mean, the games are incredible, and they really are just, amazing. I grew up a Texans fan. I moved to Houston when I was young, so I was like 10 years old when the Texans started playing, so I've always been watching the Texans. But honestly, I think my favorite moments are always going to be out in the community. Shortly after one of the hurricanes, I remember we were out at George R. Brown, so they had all the families that were displaced for hanging out there. And I remember there was this little kid that I ended up just like tossing a football with for like maybe 30 minutes. It didn't even really place with Toro, but I just remember having Toro at this, what could be like a heartbreaking event, seeing all these families who don't have homes right now. But Toro walks in the room and everyone lightens up. Like just the impact that he can bring to something that's maybe sort of a down event, and everybody smiles when they see him is just incredible.
Yeah, there's so many moments that stand out for me. The Texans have taken us all over the world. We've been to London to play in London. We've been to Mexico City. We've been and done events up in Canada. So we've traveled all over the place. Had the opportunity to meet some really cool people like yourself, Rania. And then also had the opportunity to shake hands with former President George H.W. Bush. Growing up as a kid, you just never think you'd ever even be in a room, let alone get to shake hands with a former president. And then, like Ryan said, there's just so many community moments. Being able to make impacts on the lives of local Houstonians that will just always stand out to me.
So you guys do so much for the community, and on game day and off game day, you're in the schools helping kids deal with such a complicated and difficult issue. And the community loves Toro. So how do we support or help? I know the programming's free, but is there other ways the community can engage, help? Is it merchandise you want? Tell us what we can do to support you and the work you're doing and Toro.
I think they do a great job as is. We always need the support of the fans. Like we said, the program is free, so just nominating your school, telling us where we need to be. We can only go places we know need help. So following us on social media, letting us know what schools maybe need help, nominating your local school, nominating your kid's school or the school you work at. Just kind of like pointing us in the right direction and say, we can only do so much. We just need maybe someone to let us know where else we need to be.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you guys are celebrating or any other occasion you want Toro for, we do private engagements too. So if you want Toro to be a part of your next event, you can fill out a request form on our website there as well for that.
Okay, and before we wrap up, I have to ask you, is there like a Toro secret you'll share with us? Underneath Toro, whoever's wearing like a bathing suit, like, I don't know, whatever it is, there's got to be a Toro secret, something.
A Toro secret? That's a good question. I will say I have been Toro's body double for one of the stunts. I got to test out the stunt for him, and I guarantee you it's just as scary as it looks. You're going up from almost 300 feet off the ground, jumping out of the stadium lights. It's terrifying. So I don't know if that's a secret. You could probably have guessed that it's kind of scary. But
I can tell you this audience member will never be able to help you in any of that. But guys, we love meeting and talking to people in our community who are working alongside the great works of just community members who care about each other. You're doing such a great work in the schools. You're doing such a great work in the community. We thank you for spending some time with the Balanced Voice podcast today. And we definitely look forward to seeing you guys and Toro at an event coming up soon. So thank you again. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rania.
Thanks for tuning in to today's Balanced Conversation. You can find real solutions and tangible resources in our show notes at thebalancedvoicepodcast.com. To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram at The Balanced Voice Podcast and on Twitter at @BalancedVoice_. Stay up to date on Rania's work by following her at The Rania Report, and we can't wait to see you next week for another Balanced Conversation.